huge multi-trillion-dollar industry that's, well, essential, right? It protects everything we care about, from our health to our homes. But let's be real for a second. Doesn't it just feel incredibly slow, so complicated, like it's totally stuck in the past? I think a lot of us feel that way, and it really makes you wonder, right? I mean, think about it. We can order pretty much anything with a single click today. So why does getting insurance still feel like you're climbing a mountain of paperwork and then just waiting for weeks? That's the exact problem we're going to dig into. All right, so let's get into it. So where does all that friction actually come from? Well, to figure that out, you kind of have to peel back the layers and look at the foundation the whole industry was built on. And spoiler alert, it's a foundation from a totally different pre-digital world. And this is the old way, what you could call a broken system. You see, all these problems, they really point back to one main culprit: old, outdated legacy technology. You've got these fragmented systems that don't talk to each other. It's a mess. Because of that, launching a new product can take months. We're talking over 180 days sometimes. It's crazy expensive, and it makes it nearly impossible to be nimble or try out new things. And the worst part? The whole system just can't keep up, and it ends up failing to serve entire markets that are just starting to grow. But, what if you could just change all that? What if there was a way to give insurers the tools to rebuild their entire engine from scratch, but, for this century? Well, answering that exact question is the mission of a company called B4E InsurTech. And their whole thing is, they're not just trying to put a Band-Aid on the old system. Nope. Their goal is to hand over the tools for a complete and total reinvention. And they do this with something they call Insurance Infrastructure as a Service. I know, sounds like a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually really simple. The best way to think about it is like Shopify, but for insurance. Seriously, it's one platform that gives you all the digital building blocks you need. We're talking pricing, claims, customer portals, the whole deal, so that you can build and launch an insurance product without having to be a coding genius. Okay, so a Shopify for insurance? That sounds awesome, right? But how does it actually work? What are these new building blocks that are supposed to make everything go so much faster? So it all comes down to a few key things. First, there's a no-code modular builder. This is huge. It lets people who aren't coders build products, almost like putting Legos together. Then you've got real-time AI assistants baked right in, helping with stuff like underwriting or spotting fraud on the fly. It also lets you create these really personalized customer journeys. Plus, it's built to work in multiple markets from day one. Different currencies, languages, rules, no problem. And maybe the most important part, it has an API-first architecture. All that means is it's designed to play nicely and connect with pretty much any other modern tool out there. And this just lays it out so perfectly. What used to be this 6-month-long nightmare is now a super simple 3-step thing. Step 1, you assemble your product with the configurator. Step 2, you test it out in a totally safe sandbox to make sure it works. And step 3, you launch it. That's it. You go from months of waiting to just a few days. It's a total game changer. Okay, so the results. Because all that sounds amazing in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, the numbers are in, and yeah, they paint a very, very clear picture. I mean, just look at this. The numbers are just staggering. With the old systems, you were looking at 180 days or more to get a product out the door. With this platform, we're talking less than 15 days. That's not just faster, that's revolutionary. And it's not just about being fast, it's about being smarter. We're seeing a more than 40% drop in manual tasks. All that tedious paperwork for underwriting and claims. By automating that stuff, you free up actual human beings to focus on the more complex problems that really need their attention. And of course, that flows right down to the customer. When you create these smoother, more personal digital experiences, what happens? Companies are seeing a 3 times increase in people actually finishing the sign-up process. That means fewer people getting frustrated and giving up, and way more happy customers. And finally, let's talk money, the bottom line. Because you're not building everything from the ground up anymore, you get this massive cost reduction, about 50% on average, for both setting up and servicing these products. It just makes the whole business of insurance way more sustainable. So the numbers are obviously impressive. But let's zoom out. What does this massive shift really mean for the future of insurance? And maybe more importantly, for you and me as customers. What this all unlocks is a much more adaptive future. Suddenly, insurers can innovate and react to what's happening in the market at incredible speed. They can finally afford to build and launch products for communities that were just ignored before. Think about things like microinsurance in emerging markets. For us, it means we get products that are actually tailored to what we need, not just some generic one-size-fits-all policy. At the end of the day, this is all about making insurance more accessible and inclusive for everybody. And this quote really says it all. The goal is to make insurance inclusive, intelligent, and impactful. See, the tech isn't just about being faster or cheaper. The real ultimate goal here is to build an insurance world that includes more people, operates in a smarter way, and actually makes a positive impact on our lives. It's a really powerful vision.